Do you want to see these giant railgun turrets decimate enemy targets? Do you want to see a bit of weapon testing with the Rex Mortis missiles? Well, after last time, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get the weapon systems working. So in today's video, that is all that we are doing. We are showing the deadly firepower of the Rex Mortis against various targets, including a drone swarm. Now here in front of us is the Rex Mortis Battleship. Now this one is brimming with railgun turrets. Each of these turrets hosts 6 railguns. We've got 3 facing forward at the front, and we've got an additional 2 facing forward at the bottom, and we've got 2 on the rear. And today's video is all about testing out the firepower of this ship. So we're going to be shooting weapons, having varying different degrees of targets, hitting things from different angles, and just seeing how effective these railgun turrets are. So let's start this without further ado, and we're going to lock ourselves onto the target. So we've got a little hauler in front of us here. We're going to hit our lock keys, start to establish our lock. We're going to have to be a little closer. Lock is starting to be established, like so. And as soon as that lock has been established, the railguns will lock onto the target. So let's see them lock. We'll cut our acceleration just ever so slightly. Railguns are now locked onto the target, and we're just slightly out of range. So it'll be interesting to see if these railguns can all hit that central point. If you did have weapons core on that I was hoping for originally, so the first turrets are engaging, railguns are now shooting up. Oh yes, look at that. That's beautiful. Low railguns. It looks like things missed the target ever so slightly, so let's take this into a more traditional battleship role. And with traditional battleships, you're looking to get as many guns on target, so you can see that rear gun's now coming around. And as we roll our ship to the side, it opens up our side volley of fire here as well. Look at that, that is awesome. So we want to be not accelerating and de-accelerating too much, more railguns down on target. We're going to hold about 20 meters a second like so. Oh, some big explosions on that target. Let's get into our spectator camera and have a look what sort of damage is going on. So you see them railgun turrets are tracking the target really nicely. Our side volley is opening up with them artillery turrets, and the ship is really taking some serious blows. Of course, this one's not returning fire because it is just a freighter. Look at the profile and the volley of fire coming from that. So you definitely want to get to a broadside with that battleship for maximum amount of effect. I'm just waiting for the next volley of railguns to come towards the target. We've got to remember though, Space Engineers does have an issue where if there is too much effects going down towards a target, we might not actually see the railguns fire. Yeah, I'm seeing some poofs of some railguns at the back there. The other ones seem to still be charging up. Yeah, there we go. There's the next shot. Oh, lovely. It's a massive explosive. Them railguns are really kicking that ship around as well. Maybe we need to stagger the fire a little bit of the railguns so we can spread out the overall damage. So there we have it. We've got one pass, and that ship is pretty much toast. I don't think there's much left of that at all. So let's up the game ever so slightly and try this against a larger target. So we've now prepared ourselves our next target. It is an ASI carrier. So this carrier here has a few defensive weapons. It has some fighters that sadly won't be launching in response. We've not configured the AI for that. But it does have some weapons, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what this ship would do to all of these small grids that are sitting here on the deck. So as we're approaching range, we're going to attempt to get a lock on. And there we go. We're establishing the lock now. Okay, and as soon as we have that lock on, we'll start to see them guns turning. So let's have a look what spots first. Okay, there we go. A lock has been established. Weapons are out of range currently. Weapons are now in range, turning to shoot. Lovely. Let's see what we get on this first volley. Railguns are away. Okay, so we got a hit with some of the railguns, blowing some of the fighters off the deck there. Very, very cool indeed. The rest of the weapons are starting to come into range. It looks like it's actually blown some of the connectors off in this segment here. You can see the debris from some of the fighters is actually flying off. That's perhaps what the railguns are targeting. Perhaps they've relocated and trying to lock on to some of the debris here. So the artillery guns should be getting in range shortly here, so we'll see a little bit more fire from that. Let's get a little bit of acceleration, get this a little bit closer. Roll it into the actual target, like so. And artillery fire cannons should be able to open up any moment. There we go. Artillery fire cannons are firing. are starting to destroy or work their way through the fighters on the deck. It's beautiful to see gunfire like this in Space Engineers. We'll have to step this game up a little bit though next time, and perhaps we'll see how good it is at defending itself of a horde of drones that come in to attack. So railguns aren't firing just yet, but we've got some return fire going from the carrier. So the return fire looks like it's just going generally into the side of the ship. It's actually blowing some quite considerable holes in this ship here. It's not as heavily armoured as you might think for a battleship, and a lot of them railguns are shooting over the top, perhaps distracted by them smaller fighter targets. Let's have a look what's going on here. Weapons are still tracking onto the target. Some weapons are tracking up, struggling to keep location on that. We'll tip the ship around ever so slightly so the bottom guns get a chance to actually fire their railguns. That one's moved over. That was a superb hit. Superb hit on the bottom. We'll rotate a little bit further down. Let's see what we're targeting. So whatever we were targeting, it's reallocated itself to something that's out of range. So let's attempt to relock on. We've took some damage here ourselves. Hopefully we don't lose our hydrogen tank, so we might explode. That carrier is doing really well though. Them little ships are almost acting as decoys. Trying to lock onto it. Lock is taking some time. Right, okay, we've got a full lock. Let's rotate away and try and get a railgun on the target. Come on, let's get another good volley off. Put inertia dampers on, slow us down into position. Very nice indeed. Let's see if we can get another railgun volley. Artillery guns are firing at some of the fighters. Railguns are struggling to pick the targets when you're in such a target-rich environment. Relying on AI turrets like this can be quite difficult. It might be a time to get your crew to take over the railgun turrets at this point, if they were struggling like this. So we've not got a second volley, still charging away, and the massive amount of power usage that these railguns would be using would be something you definitely have to consider. So railguns are charging up, and the shots have released, but been distracted by the look of it by some of the debris. Not good at all. Let's move on to a bit of a swarm attack on the battleship itself. So taking a look around this battleship, we do have various point defense systems. So we've got a few of these Gatling gun turrets located at the rear, the middle of the ship, and underneath. There's also a few Gatling gun turrets, but really not too many. And there's also some interior turrets, if we dart on the side here, that are trying to hold this off from fighters. Now my guess this would be surrounded by escorts, so that's how that would work. So this would be protected by the escort fighters. But let's say, what would happen if a drone swarm attack started on this? So we might have to be quite quick here. So inside this orb we have a drone swarm. These are suicide little drones, and if we activate the AI on this course, we'll see exactly what happens. Okay, so that is the drones activated and flying nicely towards the target. In this, here we go. Right, they've established the target now. So they're heading into the Rex Mortis. Are we going to get some fire? It looks like we've already got some fire going out from the Gatling gun turrets. Yeah, some parts of the drones that are coming in. That was an interception there. But this is where the horde of drones coming in is really going to become a problem. So it looks like they are going in for the railgun turrets. Railgun turrets are trying to intercept the drones as well. Artillery turrets are trying. Gatling guns are trying. But there just doesn't seem to be enough point defense. We've got some larger cannons firing. Some of these drones are being intercepted. But it is going straight in, hitting multiple points, hitting towards the bridge. Ooh, that is a bit of damage. We've got some turrets hit towards the side. We've got other ones coming around the back. So these are just little pops and sort of bangs, but that rear railgun turret has received some serious damage, and they've also gone for the character itself. That was me, who was sitting on this bridge, so the bridge has been completely destroyed. Let's have a look. Yeah, so that point defense, not really adequate for a drone swarm, but it did manage to eliminate a few. So you'd have to have this ship escorted in a fleet for sure. The artillery turrets are trying their best to stop some of these little explosive drones. Still a few C4 drones coming in. That one's looking right towards the turret. And there we go. So a bit of damage. Let's assess that. So we've got one of the turrets here who's just trying his best to intercept. Just not quite working well or well enough. Perhaps against 1 or 2 fighters, these might keep you away, trying to intercept them. Let's have a look at the main damage. So the main damage was where I was sitting, where the drones were targeting, was towards that bridge there. But there is also a few drones that have managed to tuck themselves into various different pieces around the armor there as well. So that's what a drone attack would look like on the Rex Mortis. Let's do a little bit more weapons testing. Now there is an additional weapon aboard the Rex Mortis that I want to test out as well, and this is its missiles. So the missiles sit here in the silos. We've got 8 rows of missiles, so that is quite a lot. We've locked onto another cargo ship at the front, and we're going to see just how easy these work. So by hitting 3, we initiate the systems, and we should start to see the missiles come out of the hatches. So there's a little bit of a freeze, a little bit of a pause while the missile is working up. Let's see if it does leave that hole though. There we go, we've got 2 missiles leaving the hole. Oh yes, perfect. Now let's see what happens. Will they auto track in, or are we too far away from that target further forward? So missiles have come up, but I think they might be a little bit too far up. Maybe not. No, they've located the target and they are going in at speed. Right behind one another, the missiles are zapping towards the target. So it looks like they've got a good bit of auto correction, and if they do stagger each other behind, this is not a bad thing, because it means the first one will make the hole and the second one will make the hole bigger. So some light, fire, and there we go, straight towards the bridge of that ship, depressurizing it. If there was someone sitting there, they would be very, very shocked. So let's move on to firing the rest of the missiles. So there we go, so missiles are coming out nice and staggered. Lovely. There goes the missiles. The instructions of this are these have to be fired from a static position, but if these do extend your range, I don't think there's an issue with them. So that first missile is tracking towards the target, and ideally you would want a missile swarm like this, because this has the best chance of overwhelming enemy fire. So the missiles are now starting to swarm towards the target, correcting as they go. One of the missiles is trailing behind. That's the first missile, and they're all going for the cockpit. Somewhat like they're splitting off to the side. Oh, one of them's broke off the last minute. It's coming back around. Oh, these are some high-speed missiles. Not much explosives in them, but the cockpit is definitely gone. So that is the missile systems that are aboard the Rex Mortis. So for our final test, we have 2 Rex Mortis battleships stationed next to each other. Now, as you can see, that one is not returning fire. This one is going to be the focus of our attack with all its railguns. So what I am noticing with the railguns is quite a lot of them seem to overshoot their target. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe one of you knows in the comment section below. But as you can see, it's impacting itself. The other Rex Mortis is taking some damage, and the focus of it seems to be on the turrets at the top. The other railguns are a priority target, and they are being worked through one at a time. You see the side volley of fire is trying to break through that side armor there, and there's just so much damage going through here as it rips through the hull. Let's have a look inside this hull. So you can see it is quite open, the shells are ripping through it. Hydrogen is extremely explosive, so if shots do go into the right locations there, they're going to be in trouble. But the majority of that volley seems to be focused on the turrets. Towards the back here, we've still got the bridge operational of this ship. Missiles have not been launched. We could pop ourselves out of that cockpit, but the moment we do, the targeting system does seem to stop. So that concludes my testing of the Rex Mortis weapon systems. I'm afraid I couldn't fit it into the last video. It's got a lot of really cool stuff on it, this ship, and the weapons are really damn powerful. What does concern me about it, and you'll have to either agree or disagree with me in the comment section below, is the vast amount of hydrogen inside. Targeting the right areas of this ship could blow it apart. On top of that, if you do manage to knock out them turrets, because the railguns are sticking out the front, you could disable it quite quickly. It also has quite a lack of point defense, but like all things said, this is probably one of them ships that's designed to have a bit of functionality but also be looked at and enjoyed, so you have to take that into consideration. Not all ships are about pure efficiency and functionality. The overall design of this ship is outstanding, combining it with the missile hatches, the turrets, as well as the beautifully laid out interior and command and control center. This is a lovely ship. You need to check it out in the link in the description of this video below. Now, if you felt that I delivered a video with some great content, please hit that like button so other members of the Space Engineers community can see this video as well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.